I'm sorry, did I miss a Wretched Hag, or is she just so high level that she's been dead from an earlier gank?
It was from
She
the
was
very,
dead
very
earlier.
beginning where they were pushing.
Gotcha. Now, Capitalist, probably one of, if not the strongest support players in the entire game of Heroes of Newerth. Talk to me about what you feel the ward
Oh,
game
yeah.
so far has been.
Well, I gotta say, you guys were talking about the Roshan fight that went on, that ILX lost quite a bit from. A very large part of that was actually poor placement wards by ILX. They placed it actually by the river, which is more a defensive Kongor ward. But if you're looking to do Kongor and you're on the Hellborn side, you really need to place an offensive Kongor ward, which is in that forest area, so you can see potential ganks coming in from the other side of the team. You know, from teams grouping up and trying to counter your Congo ward, and they just didn't really have vision of that, and which was a very large part of the reason why Hag wasn't in the right position. You know, they just didn't realize that there were as many Legion heroes as there were
Huge
ready to
team fight
counter
actually
that
going down.
Congo ward.
Engineer ulting, Zeph trying to come in, Token of Life being taken, and Barrel Idol going out. Just all sorts of chaos going down right now. Caped Zephyr, they're trying to keep Zeph alive to do some work, and Engineer actually going down. Huge play, Pyro picking up that kill, I believe. Oh no, that was Wretched Hag as well. And it does look as though KDE, Little Sloppy Glacius trying to come in, get an ult off, and that was huge actually. It looks as though, no, I take it back. They ended up dying. I thought that ult was a well-placed ult, but it looks as though he just got burned down so fast. And a great counter push here coming in by ILX. They were not happy about losing their melee racks mid, so they kind of said, forget this, we want to take control of this game. And they essentially just shoved it down this Legion team's throat. Really, you know, ILX showing some just showing some man up skills, so to speak. And actually, Fade coming in here, going to do a lot of work on Zeph. Zeph going down. Savage Mace doing a absurd amount of damage. And here, I believe, is where we're actually going to see Savage Mace being useful. The proc of Savage Mace, the plus 100 physical damage, or excuse me, Savage Mace combined with Geometer's Bane, and on Fade in general. Fade has an illusion that she makes with her ultimate, and then Geometer's Bane makes 2 copies of herself as well. Well, Savage Mace, you can still hit the plus 100 on the illusions. So maybe she felt that Geometer's Bane was useful once you pick up the Savage Mace. Thoughts on that, Impulse?
Again, I'd just like to go back to the fact that Fade has 16 armor at level 23 with 2100 HP against, you know, a Zephyr who has almost 1,000 more, and almost anyone else in this game has more HP than this Fade does. And so these illusions are going to go down at, you know, 1,000 total damage, which is just going to happen with, you know, incidental AoE coming out of this Hellborn side. I mean, you have Pyro, Wretched Hag, Zephyr, Demented Shaman even. There's a whole lot of AoE, so unless this Fade wanted to tank up like Zephyr, his Geometer's Bane illusions are going to last 5-6 seconds at most. And so I'm not going to argue that Savage Mace was a bad pickup. It's actually a great one to use against Zephyr using his windshield, which gives him melee evasion. But again, I'm just going back to the Brutalizer growth. Geometer's Bane, just bad pickups in general against this type of team.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. You know, those illusions against all the area effect damage, I wouldn't even give them 5 or 6 seconds. I'd give them maybe 2 or 3 at best. And as you said, I mean, your HP 2,000, it's nothing to laugh at, but it's not a lot. If you're looking at Zephyr, who has a little bit more armor, but then has the Helm of the Black Legion chance to stop auto attack damage, and then the Barrier Idol, which is magic, AoE magic reduction, or just magic armor in general. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, you got to give the yeah, Hag has actually had Nullstone. I don't think we brought that up, but the fact she has Frostfield as well, that's just huge. I mean, this wretched Hag now grabbing Gloves of the Swift. What is she going to turn that into? But, wow, I mean, just an epic game so far. 60 minutes in, we're at a 5,000 experience differential and about an 8,000 gold differential, both in favor of the Hellborn side. That Zephyr, you know, he's so buff, as you were saying, and he's actually sitting on, wow, I didn't realize this, he's sitting on 4K gold. And again, With a yawn. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to be yawning. I'm actually not even that tired. I think I'm just bleh from talking so much. And it looks like after this pause, we are ready to go here. But, I mean, geez, everybody with items. Chipper with, you know, Coldra Sheepstick, Staff of the Master. We see Ophelia with almost Staff and Astrolabe. So she's farming pretty well for a support. Blacksmith having an Acolyte Staff there along with Tablet of Command. And Demented Shaman, Gnome's Wisdom. I mean, you gotta be happy. Supports are farming reasonably well. You have your carry in the form of Zephyr farming really well. Wretched Hag is well up there.
Yeah, but I don't know what their Glacius is buying. I think he's going for a Scepter now, but I really don't see why go for a Scepter. You could go for Shrunken or something like that instead of buying Scepter. I guess he's going for Scepter though.
He is going for Scepter. I think
Kinda late for going for Scepter.
I don't know. I disagree. I mean, it may only be 60 extra damage. Not a tick, but like per shard. But I don't know. I think that it's a pretty strong. It's a pretty strong item pickup. An extra 60 magic damage. Let's say, I mean, you have 40 shards that hit. Let's say 20 of them do hit. You're looking at an extra 1,200 magic damage for a team fight, plus the slow. Translate for us, cameraman. Ah, we do have our cameraman translating all the European jibba jabba in the game here. The observers, obviously, this, as we mentioned before, both of these teams are European, so this is a European game. We saw Danish, you know, being spoken. We saw German being spoken earlier, and yeah, I mean, geez, just so hard to talk about this game. I'm trying to think if there's anything that we have not necessarily brought up. Anything to add? Anybody? Just talk.
I'm really surprised how even this is. I think this shows you the difference between the sort of European playstyle and the American playstyle. With the American playstyle, it's a lot more centered around your hard carries, and what happens is when even just one hard carry survives a genocide for their team, that's usually a GG just because of how much damage that single person can put out. Whereas with this, we're constantly seeing very even fights, you know, just slight margins being the deciding factor, and it's a much more gradual process. You don't see a 40-minute wipe just ending the whole game.
Yeah, it's definitely more fun to cast. Go ahead.
But at the same time, there's some also some differences in the fact that you know, this European playstyle, you don't see a whole lot of push strats going on here. You know, if you saw 20 minutes in, each team had a total of about 150 base damage to combine, so you see no chip damage whatsoever on towers. You don't see any attempts really to group up and push towers whatsoever. All you saw was really a lot of movement back and forth, really good movement of ganking. Which is something I think is really interesting, especially since, you know, a lot of American Han. First of all, we always see push strats a lot, but also you see a lot of dependence on towers for movement and for defensive purposes. You know, for farming and that sort of thing, towers can be so incredibly important, not only giving you vision, but essentially cutting the map in half. And when you take away those towers, you know, it really limits certain carries' ability to farm, like in the forest area, like Zephyr, for example. So, you know, it's just really interesting watching the European play style go around of really high speed movement, a lot of ganking.
Definitely. And Cap, why don't you go ahead and take the play-by-play here for us? You know,
I actually have no idea where you guys are because I fell behind, and then when the pause hit, I skipped ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say we actually need to redo it anyways because with a pause, sometimes you become unsynced. So I'm at 61:20, 21, 22, 23.
Oh, I'm actually all right. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, like as we just saw.
We need to. I'm gonna pause at 61:35.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna pause and then play. All right, and 37, 38, 39. All right, Cap, go ahead and take us through the rest of this game.
Well, as we saw, like the last conqueror, I was talking about that ward. It was incredibly important. You know, KDE was